beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about Euphoria Season 2, Episode 4. I believe the title is Those Who Cannot See Think of Those Who Can, which I also wanted to ask, does anybody know what the fuck that means? The whole time I was like trying to figure out the relevancy of the title, and I don't know where that's from. It sounds like a quote, but I don't know where it's from. So if you know where that's from, please let me know. But this episode was by far the best episode as of yet. And I started to not hate them. I started to not hate the show as much as I'd been hating. Not that I hated it, but it was hard to watch. Like, a lot of the nudity and the porniness, I realized I only hate that when it's the heteros, because the whole beginning of this episode was like Jules and Elliot and Rue kind of like flirting with the idea of a threesome. That's where I thought it was headed, but then it kind of was just like they sort of switched between each other. Anyways, it was a very sexual beginning of the episode, and I was not bothered. I was not mad. I was very interested in their dynamic. Like, because I like all of them. First of all, I find all of them attractive, and I like all of them together individually. Like, meaning like, if I could draw a triangle on the screen, like I enjoy the chemistry between Jules and Elliot a lot. I also enjoy the chemistry between Jules and Rue, as well as Rue and Elliot. I actually think my favorite though is Elliot and Jules. I actually think that also I think Rue just needs to heal. She's not really in a place to be in a relationship, obviously. Cal, I am more interested in him now. I know last time I talked about this, I was like, who gives a fuck about Cal? I thought the entire beginning of episode 3 was super long, and I literally, when they said Cal, I literally looked at my brother. I was watching it with my brother, and I said, who is Cal? And he was like, oh, it's Nate's dad. And I was like, why are we watching this? I don't care. I don't care about Cal. Now I care about Cal, because this episode changed him for me, just because obviously so much went down. And the scene where he is like peeing in the foyer and then just telling Nate, you are my biggest regret. And yes, I've been sleeping with men since before you both were born. That, while obviously very unhinged and terrible, almost felt like a power move. Like, did anybody else kind of feel like a little bit like, wow, he's really doing this shit. Okay, I'm with him. Oh, that was harsh. Oh, okay, that was a lot. Like when he was calling them hypocrites and stuff, he was when he was saying like, if I just said I went and slept with a female prostitute, you wouldn't bat an eye. But because I said I'm gay, you're upset. And it was a bit of a power move. Obviously, he looks crazy. Also, what was on his head? I missed that. I missed why he had a bandage on his head. Did something happen last episode that I don't remember? I don't know. But I was here for that. I was very here for that. I don't know where it's gonna go, but I love that he finally was just like, fuck you all. Fuck you all. I'm gay. I never wanted to have either you bitches. And that's that. Bye. And he literally left. Also, did anybody else kind of like draw a correlation between Nate and his dad have kind of similar ways of like expressing, like going from one edge of vulnerability to the other, like having absolutely all of it and then none? Like when Nate, this was like the most Nate thing too, when Cassie is like leaving, when they were hooking up and she's like, I can't do this anymore. And she's leaving and Nate goes, Cassie, I love you. And she doesn't even turn around and she just keeps walking out. And then he punches the wall. And it's like going from I love you to wall punch reminded me of when Cal goes to the bar and he's dancing with that guy and he's like picturing his old high school sweetheart, the one that got away and was ruined by heteronormativity and his girlfriend getting pregnant, all this stuff. And he's crying as he's slow dancing with this man. And then he shakes it off and says, want to wrestle? And you know what? Now that I'm thinking of it, I've seen that in real life. You see men like switch between vulnerability and like hyper-aggression. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like they veer into the territory of vulnerability, and once they get there, they're so uncomfortable that they have to like leap to the exact opposite end and punch a wall or start punching people. Like, that's literally what happened in the episode for both Nate and Cal. And it's so interesting how they were so similar in those behaviors. Let's talk about Miss Cassie and Sydney Sweeney, because Sydney Sweeney was crying on Instagram Live because a bunch of people called her ugly, which is ridiculous. She's obviously gorgeous. We all think that she's gorgeous. And it's just so crazy to me that someone so beautiful believed comments about her being ugly. And it was really sad to see Sydney crying, especially because she cries so much as Cassie. But what Sydney Sweeney crying because so many people called her ugly just kind of made me reflect on is the fact, you know, women have beauty as capital. A lot of women's main capital is beauty throughout history, right? It's used as a means of transaction. However, it never really belongs to us, right? In the case of Sydney Sweeney, yeah, she's one of the most beautiful people that is being talked about right now. Everybody talks about how beautiful she is all the time on TikTok, yada yada. And yet, when trolls come and call her ugly, it's almost like that capital is being taken from her, and she feels that she no longer has it. And it's so interesting because if we're talking about capital, we're talking about, you know, transactions. If you actually had money, you're not going to feel that somebody's taken the money from you unless they physically take it away from you, right? But with beauty, you can still be beautiful and made to feel like you're not beautiful and have that capital taken away from you. Because of the patriarchy, it's kind of like the beauty is out of our hands. It's in the eye of the beholder, and it's all tied up to capitalism anyway. But that made me sad. Seeing Sydney cry, that made me sad. Let's talk about Cassie, who cries all the time. Cassie is unhinged. Cassie's in her unhinged alcoholic era, obviously. And Lexi, like, you know what? Also, I started to have a lot more respect for Lexi when she was putting like Cassie's speech into her art. I was like, you're a badass bitch. Bitches who turn their trauma and their pain into art. Cassie is like, oh, she's so tragic. Like, she's one of the most tragic characters I've seen on TV in a while. Like, they really do their job to make her look pathetic. Like, oh my gosh, when she puts on the bathing suit and she walks down the stairs and like looks at Nate, it gets hard to watch, but it's interesting because you see Maddie, and Maddie is like not even surprised by it. She's like, yeah, she gets like this. And you saw in the pool, in the hot tub, when Maddie and Nate are going at it, Maddie keeps looking. Maddie keeps looking at Cassie to see what her reaction's gonna be. That gave me, you know, in Mean Girls when Regina is flirting with Aaron at the lunch table right beside Katie, and she's like, Katie, don't you think that his hair looks sexy, push back? Tell him that his hair looks sexy, push back. And Katie goes, your hair looks sexy, push back. That was very much the energy of like the banter between Maddie and Nate, and Maddie also getting off on Cassie being there. That's what that felt like to me. Did anybody else feel like that? And it was like, they're not together, blah, blah, blah. Also, at least Kat was fucking in this episode. Like, I want justice. I want justice for Kat, but I love that Kat, like, put Nate in his place. And Nate just gets away with anything, but that scene was so sad. Just panning back to Cassie, and she's like, also her position in the hot tub, you know what I'm talking about. She was like she was obviously trying to accentuate her boobs, whatever, but she's in this like weird position, and she's like got like tears kind of still in her eyes. She's like very obviously very intoxicated and just not okay, and she's just like looking at this, and it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch. It's such a cringy dynamic, but it's also obviously so entertaining. So yeah, this was definitely the best episode yet. Let me know what you think about this episode down below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'm at 7K. I'm trying to get to 10K by my birthday. My birthday's in a month. I think that we can do it. But I need you to give me your likes. I need you to share this video. I need you to comment down below, share it with your friends. Also check out my Patreon. I will link it down below. Follow me on Twitter at KiraBria. Follow me on Instagram at KiraBria. And that is it. I will talk to you next time. Bye.